As many of you know, tennis is a very independent sport. It comes with many upsides and downsides. In tennis, you're out there by yourself. There are no sub-ins or sub-outs. Tennis causes me to develop some attributes, some that are beneficial and some that are not. For example, tennis causes me to be very independent, so in school it's difficult to work in groups. Every year, I play on the varsity tennis team. Playing on the tennis team is much different than playing independently. On a tennis team, everyone is working together. The tennis team creates a family between each and one of the players. We all support each other on and off the court, and we all cheer for each other as a team. This brings me to the topic of working in groups. Over the summer, I went to Syracuse University to take a business course. In one of my courses, we were put into groups in order to complete a project. In order to be put in the groups, we took a test that would pick out each group member and put them in the same group. For example, this test determined our personality traits, the way we work, and who we prefer to work with. This test was meant to put people with different qualities in the same group. For example, in one group, the test would put someone who is good with technology, someone who is an artist, and someone who is a leader. This test is meant to prevent having people in the same group with the same attributes, such as having 3 people that are good with technology and, let's say, 2 people that are artistic. I always tell myself, learn from your experiences. I learned at Syracuse that you should always be more flexible with new group members. If you have a problem, you should try to work it out before you start the group. You start the project, because this would prevent your progress from being stopped during the project. Also, don't be stubborn. Fortunately, at Staples, you're always working in groups. We're always working with new people. Teachers change our groups 4 times a year for a reason. They do this so we're comfortable working with new people every quarter. In group work, everyone has to contribute. Nowadays, teachers give us a group grade and an individual grade. They give us an individual grade, so you can't have one person doing all the work and, let's say, one person slacking off. I think this method motivates students to work out of their comfort zone. This also makes us more comfortable in the future. In terms of the future, being able to work in groups in the business world is a must. My dad, a lawyer, said in his field of work, you do what benefits the group, not what benefits yourself. Over the summer, I went to NYU for a week to do a team building course, and this course, the whole point of this course was saying how teamwork and team building is essential to have in the business world. My main point is that it is essential to be able to work in groups. Today, I want you to leave today understanding that it is essential to be able to work in groups. And that's it.
All right, what do you think? How do you think it went?
I think I look at my note cards too much.
Yeah, I think you know your stuff better than you think you do. There's one other area that I would kind of work on integrating a little bit in your speech. You bring up tennis in the beginning, and then you shift over to groups.
Right.
I think you need to tie that back in somewhere, whether you bring up the fact that, like, tennis has allowed you to figure out who you are independently, but working in groups has allowed you to figure out how that can work in conjunction with other people. Because you want to make sure that you don't start with one topic and then go in a completely different direction and never bring it back, because you never did bring it back, right? So even if you bring it back at the conclusion or something and say how, like, these things that you've been a part of and been kind of privy to have allowed you to realize that you can be a powerful contributor. And then the final thing about the idea, what's your final line? Can you say that one more time?
I said, I want you to leave today understanding that it is essential to be able to work in groups in the future.
Okay. You might want to leave people with a little bit more, because I think that's totally right.
I just like wrote this down.
Yeah, so let's think about what you could do for the conclusion. Where else do you think you can go with that to, like, have people leaving and being like, okay. What else do you think you can add to that? What about suggestions, things you've, like, specific things you've learned about, like, how if you're independent, you can actually do something really positive in a group too. Like how, like, the independent person can work with others that may seem unlike them, like things you've learned from all of your experiences.
Right.
Do you see how that can work? And I think that if you could say, like, you know, from tennis, this is what I learned. Now I bring that to the group because I do this. So for you, find what your leadership style is, or find one area where you're talented, and this is what you can do to bring it to a group setting to better the group. Because it's not what we can do independently, but what we can do together.
Okay.
Do you see how that works a little bit? So I would work on the ending, keep practicing that part especially. The more you can have personal connections, like the different stories you tell about your experiences are really, really good. Okay? I would even
Got
maybe
it.
even get a little more personal about what did the test show you about your leadership style and how did that work with the people in your group?
Okay.
Okay? All right, cool. Good job, Max. Thank you. Kyle, you ready?